House Report Number 118-272, offered by Ms. Hageman of Wyoming.
Pursuant to House Resolution 864, the gentlewoman from Wyoming, Ms. Hageman, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Wyoming.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of my Amendment 108, which prevents the Department of Education from carrying out its, quote, American History and Civics Education priorities referenced in the Federal Register entitled Proposed Priorities, American History and Civics Education. Under this 2021 proposed rule, the Department of Education sought to institute a variety of priorities under the National Activities Program and within American History and Civics Academies, seeking to promote a divisive educational curriculum. The real agenda behind these priorities is to attack our nation's history and pursue an agenda to allegedly address what it refers to as, quote, systemic marginalization, biases, inequities, and discriminatory policy and practice, and to allegedly help students understand their own biases when reviewing information. What complete and total hogwash and drivel. While the department was forced to abandon its efforts to institute its offensive agenda, it has also disclosed its intent to maintain what it refers to as invitational priorities, meaning that it will encourage others to do what it cannot. Madam Chair, our children deserve to be educated on history, mathematics, English, science, and other programs that are accurate, robust, educational, and that will prepare them to join the workforce and be productive members of society. They do not deserve to be indoctrinated into far-left hatred of America. My amendment would block the Department of Education from instituting these insidious priorities. I encourage my colleagues to vote in favor of it, and with that, I reserve.
The gentlewoman reserves. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Connecticut seek recognition?
I claim the time in opposition.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
I rise in opposition to this amendment. It seeks to block priorities for an out-of-date civics competition from 2021. My colleague seeks to gin up alarm over the prospect of federal funding being used to support priorities that alarm her. She failed to mention how the department ran an entirely new civics competition in 2023 that used different priorities from the 2021 competition. The department has no current plans to reuse the 2021 priorities that she speaks about. Let me just tell you, our children need to know about civics. We have children today who know nothing about government, at the local level, the state level, the federal level. They don't know how to interact with one another with differences of opinion, and the lack of knowledge about civics has created more division in our society than almost anything else. We need to invest in civics, and I know that because I've introduced legislation in a bipartisan way on having civics taught. Let's not create a specter about what civics education is and define it in your terms. It's good to have an educated society that understands what our government is about and how we can interact with one another and have agreements and disagree in an agreeable way with one another. In the end, this amendment was drafted to conjure up unwarranted fears and concerns. It will have no impact. It is another waste of our time. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this amendment, and I yield back.
The gentlelady yields to you that the members should only refer to the chair. Okay, your remarks to the chair. Now, the gentlewoman from Wyoming is recognized.
As I have said numerous times before, critical race theory and related programs are simply a mechanism utilized by the radical left to assert their control and to further divide Americans. Madam Chair, my amendment is one small effort in combating the left's effort to turn our educational system into indoctrination camps, pushing racist policies that are not grounded in reality. Once again, my constituents are fed up with the failures of the Department of Education in actually educating our children while using our taxpayer dollars to destroy America from within. Support for my amendment will send a message to the Department of Education and other federal agencies who pursue implementation of critical race theory initiatives that their time is up, that we are no longer going to allow them to use our educational system to implement policies that are not only based on lies, but that pit Americans against Americans. I urge my colleagues to vote for my amendment, and with that, I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields. The question is in the amendment offered by a gentlewoman from Wyoming. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. It is now in order to consider amendment number 109, printed in Part B of House Report 118-272. For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia seek recognition?
Madam Chair, I rise as the designee for Mr. Harris of Maryland and have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 109, printed in Part B of House Report number 118